All right, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this electrifying and invigorating episode of the Geek Garage podcast. I'm your host David, and joined with me is a extra special good friend of mine. He's been featured on like 2.5 episodes of the podcast, I believe. 2.5 that I can think of.
If maybe.
Yeah. Um, so welcome, Mr. Zachary Wills.
Yeah, Zachary Wills.
For,
you got it.
Zachary Wills. That's your entire full name.
Zach for short.
Yes. So yeah, the 2.5 that the half that I was referring to was that fuck up that happened, where we it was something that had to do with the Better Call Saul episode that we did.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there was some technical mishap or if, like, I know we decided that it just ended up being way too long, and then I think we re-recorded it. And
we re-recorded because for some reason it didn't take, and I can't remember what happened. That was like a year or so ago, and I've slept since then, so there's no way I'm going to remember.
I've slept a lot since then, good sir. But yeah, welcome back to the podcast. First of all, thank you so much for coming back.
No, I appreciate it. It's a great opportunity. As a straight white man, I always appreciate a microphone and a platform to just say whatever I want to say. What if I just started like that? I'm like, abortions! Just say the most awful things.
Right. Yeah, that'd be a great way. Let me insert my opinions of things that I have absolutely no room discussing.
My opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
God, if you see me, what is what?
Well, I was gonna say, like, white men, we've had the floor for at least 400 years, so maybe I should just shut the fuck up. I'm bored.
I don't want to do that. You know, I like that so much. And when I really get into something, and I did this with Hamilton too, when I really get into something, I like obsess about it. And it's always on my mind. Mm-hmm. And I get to the point where I actually dream about it. So I wake up with like sexting, his song Sexting in my head is the one that's, I'm not kidding, the past like 5 days.
Yes.
It's in my head every time I wake up. And that's just how my day starts. And I did the same thing with Hamilton because I was really into Hamilton when I discovered it like 2 years after everybody else, because that's how I live my life. But it was
right.
And I'm still doing it. Like I still listen to it in the car. Like if I have to do that to just get it out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I know. It's funny you mention it because I know exactly what you mean. Like I will wake up in the morning and boom, like I didn't even sleep at all. Like this, just a song just clicks. Like there's a synchronicity between my eyes opening and then like a needle dropping on a record. Yeah. And it's like the initiation of my day, and it's so weird. Like eyes open, sexting. It isn't sex, it's the next best thing. AT&T.
Mine is I'm like dreaming about it before I wake up. That's why I had to stop watching The Walking Dead, because I have such an active imagination that I actually started having zombie dreams. I had to quit watching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought, cool. Well, I just like went on that rant where I was like, hey, someone else experiences this too, and you're just talking about dreams. I'm talking about like real fucking life. Doing great. Well, let's segue into something that might not make me sound like such an ass.
If you can.
I'm gonna try my darndest, good sir. So initially, you know, we were talking about this a little bit before the episode kicked off. Like we initially planned for this to be an episode about some of the stuff that's been going on at Disney World as of late. And of course we will get to that, but we start coming up with other like non-related talking points that were still in the geek and nerd zeitgeist. And we were like, fuck it, let's just, instead of it being like Disney and Star Wars centric, we'll just make it one of our nerdy news updates.
Mm-hmm.
And and here we are. So just as always, just knock out our little intro piece. Thank you to our current subscribers for tuning back in. If you are in fact tuning back in and you haven't regretted your decision to continue listening to the podcast, thank you for choosing to continue to listen. If this is your first time listening to the podcast,
sorry,
I should have started with you guys because now you're like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? Consider this your warning.
They're not here anymore.
For the three of you that are here, consider this a warning that there will be tangents and there will be a lot of bullshitting and just all around goofiness and silliness. And if you're into that, then you've come to the right place, friends. So, and thank you for deciding to give our podcast a chance. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, it's very kind. If you didn't tune out when I screamed abortion into the microphone. They probably got a recommendation from a friend like abortion. Yeah, listen to that podcast. Yeah, you sent this guy just screamed into the microphone. It was
yeah. So we were actually talking about this last night in our what started as like a trial test run to make sure all your audio equipment was working fine, and we just decided to publish it as a bonus episode. We were talking last night about how we, as a general kind of like rule of thumb, that we don't like, there's two taboo topics on the podcast, that is religion and politics, because you get enough of that shit on Facebook or Twitter
everywhere
from your back ass words family that haven't got with the fucking times yet. And the last thing you want is to tune into our podcast with a couple of whiteys that have more to say about those stupid fucking topics. With that said, real quick, fuck Texas and their new backwards ass abortion law. I hope that shit gets overturned. I don't know if there's anything that I can do about it without being the center of attention, standing on the sidelines. Sandra Bullock,
right?
But just fuck all that shit.
Just keep speaking out against it. The more loud voices out there against stuff like that, the more attention it gets, and it's can't. 2021, folks. Wow.
Yeah.
Trying to recreate The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. Like amidst everything that's going on, it's like the opposite of the Civil War. Like the Civil War was happening, and then a couple of guys got together and they were like, you know what would be great right now? Some steak sauce. And they invented A1. They came up with A1 in the midst of like one of the greatest wars this nation has ever known.
Hang on, is that real?
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you check the dates that like, you know how like a lot of
established
brands have like their established dates on it. If you check A1 sauce, it's like during the Civil War times. And I read a funny meme one time that was like, I checked the date of or checked the established date, what was going on at the time that A1 was founded, and it was like Civil War is like in the midst of one of the craziest wars of all time. You know what? This country needs some fucking steak sauce.
You know what they need out there on the front lines? Some goddamn steak sauce. That's a fun game. I bet if you look at like the older products like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, like the year that it was established or founded, see what was actually going on in the world at that time. I bet that's a cool game.
Yeah, with Coca-Cola, they were like, how can we find a way to sneak cocaine into everyday household food and beverage products? I know. Let's create a soft drink and we'll just put cocaine in it, and we'll tell people it's something called caffeine, but really it's cocaine.
Well, there was no FDA back then, right? What did Upton Sinclair write The Jungle?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think that was the book that brought about the 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 FDA's coming about was. Did you have to read that one in school? Did they make you read that one?
I I don't think so.
It's a rough
We
one. It's about immigrants. I can't remember where they're from, but they come over to the States and they end up, one of them, Yorgos, the main character, ends up working in a meat packing plant. And the descriptiveness of just
mm,
actually what was going on at that time is like, it's a rough read. And that's what I think that's what kind of brought about the FDA. If I'm totally wrong, don't at me. I don't care that much. I'm just saying it was a good book. And it's one of those things that actually stuck with me from high school, you know?
right. Yeah. I feel like our required reading in high school was kind of piss poor. Like we missed out on
You
a
mean the
lot
Tennessee
of what.
public school education didn't serve you well, David?
Well, I didn't go to public school.
Oh, really?
I feel like, yeah, I feel like I missed out by going to private school.
Well, you
Um,
missed out on a lot of fights and drug dealers, I can tell you that.
well, the only difference is that besides the reading material, is that we paid more for higher quality drugs. We were like on that designer drug level already. I was not. I was a fucking square. Not an arc, but a square. I was like, smoking weed. Like,
Yeah, me too.
I don't want any of that. That leads to,
The devil.
that leads, that's the devil's lettuce right there.
Everything's the devil.
I talked just like that when I was 17 years old, by the way.
I believe it.
I like a fucking twerp. Anyways, so we had a Facebook poll this weekend that just wrapped up, and our Facebook poll, since we are kind of on the topic of Disney and Disney parks and the new Star Wars immersive hotel experience that we will get into here in just a little bit. I just simply asked, what is your favorite Disney park? And I made sure to specify Disney World. Do you know if is it just one park at Disneyland in California?
Disneyland,
Is
California.
that
I think it's just the one park. Like, there's only the one gate.
okay?
But whereas,
Yeah,
Disney World has the 4 gates.
Yeah, that was the assumption that I was under.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the question. There wasn't a huge participation in this. I wasn't really expecting there to be huge participation. I usually the more topical stuff, especially around like Halloween time or the holidays, like that's what really gets traction. But people did vote enough to get a first, second, third, and fourth place. And first place is going to Hollywood Studios, which is actually my favorite.
Yep, mine too. That's what I would have picked.
Second, yeah, okay. Second place is Magic Kingdom. Third place goes to Epcot, and fourth place goes to Animal Kingdom. I feel like this list is. I don't know, Zach. How do you feel about this list? Let's let you
That
talk for a
tracks.
second.
That tracks.
You think so?
Yeah, I would have picked Hollywood Studios strictly because the first time I went to Disney, I experienced Tower of Terror, and that blew my mind. The first time I was probably 21. The first time I actually got to like go, because you grew up working class. Disney's not in the cards, especially now, which we're going to talk about. But if it
Sure.
if it was any other park, it probably wouldn't have hit me the same. But the fact that I got to do Tower of Terror first and saw like projections of like Ghost and like the whole thing and the amount of effort and detail that goes into everything. And then after that, I think it was like Rock and Roller Coaster. That was like the next thing. And that just set the tone for everything. And Magic Kingdom is obviously iconic. So for me, that's second, because you get a hot dog at Casey's, you see the castle, you do the whole thing. There's a lot of great things to see and do in Magic Kingdom. Epcot, awesome, especially if you're with kids that are younger, that you can't like maybe do everything you want to do and ride the rides you want to ride. So, Animal Kingdom. Yeah, I understand why that's fourth. The only redeeming factor that I've experienced there is Avatar Flight of Passage, which is amazing.
I've heard nothing but fantastic, wonderful things about the Avatar. Is it just ride or plural? Are there more than one?
The Flight of Passage, and there's a whatever the river
Wasn't sure if
rapids.
there was.
There's another ride themed after it, but no, Avatar Flight of Passage is just the one attractive of itself, and just the queue of that is just
Mhm.
so cool. Like they made the world that you're just in for that ride
Uh,
as you like go
okay.
through the big tree and all the wildlife and stuff like that, and the sounds they put in there. It's just awesome. And then you get into like this stuff you see from the movie. And I saw Avatar a long time ago. I don't remember it, but it's like a movie set being in there, and
Mhm.
then you get on the actual attraction
Wow.
itself, and it's pretty special. Yeah, if you ever get a chance.
That's yeah. Yeah, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. The last time that I was there, it was mine and Lindsay's belated honeymoon that we took in May of 2010. So the Hollywood Tower of Terror and the Rock and Roller Coaster, of course, were there. Those have been there for quite a while, but none of the Avatar stuff was there. None of the, of course, that wasn't even out yet. That came out in what, that was like 2013, right?
Something
The
like that.
movie,
That sounds about right. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, like none of this the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge stuff had come out because that was just like a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but we like, even though Animal Kingdom is probably fourth on my list, like it's like pizza. Like there's no such thing as a bad time. Like we still had a blast
Yeah.
at Animal Kingdom, and I fucking love animals. And like going on uh, this safari ride, and like God bless that Florida heat. It felt like we were in the African savannah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, just like gazing out at all the animals, and I was like, I kind of feel like I'm in Africa right now, looking at all these animals. It was an immersive experience just because of the heat, but yeah, I loved it. Um,
When you
so just
when
be,
you went, you said that was like almost 10 years ago. Did they have the paper
mhm.
fast passes? Do you remember like the little tickets you used to have to get?
I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they were still operating off of yeah, because smartphone and smartphones and smartphone technology just
It wasn't there.
wasn't there.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't there yet.
like the iPhone came out in what, like 2007, I think 2008,
Hmm. Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So, you know, so this was only 3 years later. So there was nothing to write home about in terms of how crazy um, technology and apps would get,
Hmm.
like it is now. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, well, let's put a pin in that because we are going to talk more Disney stuff here in just a minute. We do have a couple other nerdy topics, talking points to get into before our I guess our main event or whatever you want to call it. I'm making it sound super exciting, guys. Fucking idiot. Um, so I wanted to talk about Shang-Chi, but I feel like I want to discuss this Patty Jenkins thing that I had been seeing a couple times
What's that?
in I guess you haven't seen anything about this
Not yet. No. What is it?
at all. I don't think it's necessarily big news, but I saw one article over the weekend, and I was like, the amount of articles that you actually click on, we're all at fault for it. Like we don't really click on enough because we kind of grew up on clickbait where you're just like, fuck that. Like I'm not going
Hmm.
to read it. I'll just read the headline and take it at face value.
Hmm.
Like a good American. Um, and I'm not gonna read in depth into any of this. But the headline, and I'm paraphrasing here, was like Patty Jenkins says that streaming services uh, original content, like original movies, are not not good, and they lack substance and value. And like I said, I'm paraphrasing, these are not actual quotes. I did end up actually going to read one of the articles because like I said, I saw one initially and I was like, whatever. But then I saw a couple more and I was like, well, damn, like I guess this is gaining some traction. So, Zach, are you familiar with Patty Jenkins? Do you know who she is?
No,
Okay, so
I've
she's
probably
the
seen her face, but I if I hear the name, I don't know.
she's actually, for me, she's more of a name than a face.
Hmm.
Like when I saw her picture, that was literally the first time I saw her face. But she's the director of the two Wonder Woman movies,
Oh, okay.
and she will be directing the Star Wars Rogue Squadron
Hmm.
movie. Which I mean, I'm pumped for. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about her directing it. We'll see. The jury's out, but that's a whole other topic. But yeah, so I went to go. I read the article, and then what was gold were the comments, of course. And it was just person after person after person shitting on her. Like, you have the nerve to point out the flaws in Netflix's original content right after you release that heaping garbage that was Wonder Woman 1984.
I thought it was fun. I didn't.
So once again, I'm kind of acting as a conduit for these people's comments. Those weren't my words.
No, I know you
Those were
don't think
their
that, but I
words.
mean, it's like people. God, they're so harsh, aren't they? They're so quick to lash out.
I will. Okay, so I'll admit I laughed my ass off,
Yeah.
and I kind of agreed a little bit. Like I will say that I thought the first Wonder Woman was a bit stronger. Um,
Hmm.
and
I
I
agree. I
like
agree.
I I thought the acting performances actually in Wonder Woman 84 were pretty good. Like I actually thought Kristen Wiig was like in her acting role as that character and the villain, not too bad. Like I actually liked her, and that that ended up being one of the more surprising things for me after watching that movie, because when I first learned that she was going to be the villain in that movie, I was like, she normally plays like the comedic lead, or a character in comedies,
Hmm.
and so I was like, her in a superhero movie playing a villain, like, wasn't sure, but like at the same time, I was like, I kind of get it, because if you think about it, like comedic actors have like they're very diverse in, I don't know what I'm trying to say, their repertoire, like how far their acting capabilities go. You know what I'm
Range,
saying?
range.
Their acting range. Thank
Hmm.
you. So how did you feel about Wonder Woman 84? You liked it?
I saw it in passing just because the wife was watching it and I was in the room. But I'll put it this: I've never seen a Marvel movie that I was just like I didn't like. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a yes ander. Like they're all fun to me. You know, I never got like really deep into the anthology or anything like that. But every single one that I've ever watched, including that one because I remember it, it was just it was fun. I liked it. Like Wonder Woman, the first one that came out, we saw that one in theaters. I liked that one a lot. But yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't stand out to me as anything was just like ugh. There's only one thing that I watched in that universe, and I think it was one of the Hulk movies. Maybe it was the one with Edward Norton, where I was just kind of like, maybe
This
not
is
that
a
one.
Wonder Woman is DC.
Is it? See,
Yeah.
that's how into it I am. I don't even know. But
You're doing great. I'm so proud of you.
I'm doing great. Like I said, I've always been a casual fan of like Marvel and DC. I've never been deep into it, but I've never watched one, and I've seen I think up to Endgame. I never even finished Endgame, I don't think, but I've never seen one that
Oh wow.
that I didn't like. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Same with Star
Sure.
Wars. I've never been deep into the universe, but I've never seen one where I was like, I didn't like that. Of course you'd like it. It's Star Wars. They're all great, right? Every Marvel movie is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Like it's a great time, especially if you can see it in theaters.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're there to be. Like Ted and I have talked about this a lot on the podcast. Like there's a difference between a popcorn flick and high art
Mm-hmm.
in film.
Yeah.
And I feel like most comic book and superhero movies are pretty uh they are self um what am I trying to say? They know what they are, they know where they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh they know that they're not high art. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. And this is a soapbox that I
Well, it's there to sell
try not to get
tickets.
on.
They're there to make money.
Uh
Don't get me wrong.
that
There's
too.
still value in the art, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be entertaining. They're trying to put butts
Yeah.
in seats, so it's going to be explosions.
Yeah.
It's going to be high action. It's going to be the best story that they can put together. You know, it's going to be fast. It's going to be a lot of like stuff. It's not going to be
Right.
the Irishman. You know, you're not going to get 3 hours of how the Hulk feels or how
Yeah, exactly. Like Hulk sad. Let's talk about that for 30 minutes.
Hulk Teamster.
Yeah. So next on our list is Shang-Chi. And so this I don't know if it broke any records up until earlier today when you sent me that screenshot or that
Yeah,
meme, whatever that was.
it was
I know
it
that
was
it was
Rob
like,
Zombie's post.
yeah. So before you sent me that, I was just under the impression that it like fucking blew up at the box office. Like people went to go see the shit out of this movie. Unfortunately, I was not one of them because Lindsay and I could not find childcare for our kids. No shocker there. No one wants to watch our kids. I don't blame them. They are terrorists. We literally call our daughter Drax the Destroyer, and for good reason. Um, but yeah, up until that, like 2 hours ago, you sent me that link. That's what did it say? Go ahead and
Yeah, I
fill
have
in
it
my
here.
gaps here.
It was from Rob Zombie's official Instagram. Shang-Chi smashes Labor Day box office record, dethroning Rob Zombie's Halloween. So
Yeah,
he said it took 14 years, but it finally happened. Big Mike was knocked out of the top spot by Kung Fu Master. 14 years is a pretty good run. Rob Zombie Halloween. So it knocked Rob Zombie's Halloween off the throne for best picture
oh,
as far as ticket sales on Labor Day weekend.
just hit. Okay, cool. It's going back now.
Okay.
All right. So let's see how do we? Do you want to just take it from the top?
Yeah.
Um,
So from Rob Zombie's official Instagram, he says it took 14 years, but it finally happened. Big Mike was knocked out of the top spot by a Kung Fu Master. 14 years is a pretty good run, and this is Shang-Chi smashes Labor Day box office record, dethroning Rob Zombie's Halloween. That's what he posted. So
it's pretty
apparently,
impressive.
yeah,
Yeah, like impressive on both ends. Like I had no idea about that record. Like I didn't know that uh Rob Zombie's Halloween was I didn't first of all I didn't know it came out on Labor Day. I kind of forgot about that. Even though I did go see it in theaters. And then I didn't realize that it held the Labor Day spot for for how long, for 14 years. That's pretty nuts. But yeah, congratulations to Shang-Chi for getting that victory. That is fucking awesome.
pretty
And
sweet. I didn't know
uh,
that was a achievement. I didn't know that Labor Day weekend was some kind of special. What do you call it? Some sort of mark that needed to be noted. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess yeah, I guess it makes sense because a lot of people do have off. It's a 3 day weekend, so it's just another. It's one more day, one more opportunity to put butts in theater seats.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it makes sense that it would be a big weekend for movies. So yeah, but that's awesome. I'm really excited to go see Shang-Chi whenever I am actually able to go see it. Hopefully here in the next week or so. So Zach, do you have plans? You and your wife have plans to go see it?
No, we're not doing anything until we can get daughter vaccinated per the advice of our pediatrician, because Florida's doing great as far as that stuff goes. So
Well, Tennessee is right there with you, buddy.
are they doing good too?
We are we're doing so good.
Going for
He
the
said
lead,
with
huh?
heavy sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First or
We're
last,
number
baby.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, first or last. Hell, Bobby, I was high when I said that. You could be second. You could be third. Hell, you could be fourth.
It's pretty much the sentiment down here, man. It's not good.
Yeah.
So we're not doing
that,
anything. Yeah, I'm not even going to get an annual pass to Disney since they reopened it until we can
all right.
get her vaccinated. Just because I'm not going to pay for it, which we can get into what that's going to cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think this is our last item / talking point to hit on before we get to the main event. And that is this was actually just it was an alert on my phone right before we hit record, and that was, I guess, a teaser for the Matrix 4 teaser. Like I guess it technically is a teaser. It was like a minute and a half long, and it kind of looked like two different clips that were spliced together, back to back. But I think we're supposed to get our first full trailer on Thursday.
Cool.
And Zach, I don't know how you feel about the Matrix franchise. I don't know if you like them or not, but I am a huge fan. It's been a while since I've seen the trilogy in full, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's been a long
really
time
like
since
the
I've seen it
movies.
too. Yeah, it's been, I don't know how long it's been since I've watched any of those. I watched the first one probably 2 or 3 times. Like, I liked that one for sure.
Yeah.
The second and the third, maybe saw them once. Fun movies, love it, really good time. But I never really focused in on it. So this will give me a reason to go back and actually relearn, which is something I always appreciate, an opportunity to go back and watch cool stuff and actually try to learn it this time instead of just passively watching it. But the trailer or the teaser didn't really give us anything, did it? Did you get anything out of it?
I'll tell you what I got. I got fucking hype. Like, I got chills. So I'll be honest.
You're
like,
into it.
Dude, I am so fucking pumped. Like, Keanu Reeves is no joke one of my favorite actors. I know his acting abilities may leave something to be desired. I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a fuck, because the dude is literally Jesus Christ. He if you threw robes on him, he'd look like Jesus. He's the nicest dude ever. He's probably one of the hardest working dudes in show business, and so gracious with his time and his charity. He's just an all-around solid dude. And from what I've heard, I've never met him, obviously, but and I fucking love the John Wick movies. They're so good.
Very good. Very good.
I can't get enough of them. I'm pumped for John Wick 4. That can't come soon enough, but the Matrix 4 will definitely tide me over until then, because oh man, I'm not sure. So I don't know if you knew about this, like, Chad Stahelski, the director of the John Wick movies, he was actually the stunt coordinator for the first 3 Matrix movies.
Really?
And he was Keanu's stunt double. For a lot of the scenes. So they had a pretty solid and long history. So when they hooked up to do the John Wick movies, that's kind of how they were able to make those so good, is that they already had that history. But yeah, like I don't know, I'm just super pumped for all of that. Bring it on.
I'm pumped that you're pumped. Sorry, I heard a noise inside and I wasn't sure
man.
what that was. That's why I was like all over here. No, but I'm pumped that you're pumped, and I like when people get excited about things, because it gives me a reason to get excited about things. And actually doing this podcast gives me a reason to actually delve into things that I wouldn't have. Like it forces me to be more adventurous in that space,
Mhm.
because I probably wouldn't have sought out things like that on my own, because I'm just a person who, after I get home from work, I'm going to put on The Office again. Or if I have a day off, I need something that's just relaxing. I shy away from new things typically.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it gives me a reason, like the Marvel and
I
DC
know.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's keep going.
Mhm. No, I wanted to let you finish. Like I was saying the other day, like I get so excited. Like
Yeah.
I need to work on that. I need to be better at like not cutting people off.
Trust me,
But I
usually
just get so excited.
it's going nowhere. It's probably it's just
Yeah.
filling dead space because I'm uncomfortable.
I am uncomfortable. So yeah, but I do know exactly what you mean. Like that is an actual thing that a lot of people feel, especially nowadays, with just so much uncertainty in the world and so much fucking chaos. Like it's totally normal to fall back on the familiar, like The Office or Parks and Rec or
Hmm.
Community or what have you. Just something that you're familiar with, that you know what's going to happen, because it provides some stability and predictability in your world of chaos and unpredictability.
Yeah,
Um,
and not to keep coming back to it, but I mean, we've already lost people in our lives due to this bullshit. Like people are
mhm,
gone. So I mean,
yeah.
we're all probably experiencing some level of trauma, whether you
Hmm.
like to think about it or admit it or not. It's the reality. I don't know if you've had that happen to you, but we've
Yeah.
lost my wife's dad, um, a guy that we went to high school. Well, you didn't, but somebody I went to high school with is gone now, who is
Hmm.
33 and healthy. It's like, just you see things like that just happening over and over, and it's just like, ugh.
Jesus.
And you want something comfortable like The Office, or just a movie you've seen 5 times just after a day of work, something like that. It's like new things aren't really an option for us right now, at least for me. Like I'm not going to go to a
Hmm.
theater. I'm not going to, like, we can't go to Disney right now
Yeah.
and see all the
Yeah.
new
That's
shit.
yeah.
My bad.
No, it's has been a major bummer. I haven't personally, like in my immediate family or extended family, haven't lost anyone, thankfully, knock on wood. But I've had friends that have lost parents or grandparents or relatives, and it is a massive bummer, to say the very least.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I'm hoping that things course correct eventually.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Uh, let's talk about something that's like not a huge Debbie Downer.
I have a
Um,
puppy. We have a puppy.
oh yeah,
That puppy peed on
yeah,
the
you
bed
do.
tonight, so that's fun.
Oh great. Fuck that puppy.
Fuck that puppy. No,
I'm
she's
just
fun.
kidding.
She's
Yeah.
a golden doodle, so she's gonna get big. We call her Big Bitch. She's
Mm.
gonna be like 70 pounds probably.
A big bitch. She's a big bitch.
That's what we call her. Yeah, we got Big Bitch. We
Uh,
got Butters. He's our old dog. We got
yeah.
Dwight, our baby dog. He's our little Cairn Terrier. So Butters is
Did
on
you
the way
say a
out.
Karen Terrier?
Yeah, Cairn Terrier. Yeah, like Toto.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yep.
Let's talk about this.
Did you look? Did you look into it? Like go online and look at the pricing and stuff like that?
I did. I didn't spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how much time you spent on it, but I did look around long enough to find the pricing. They kind of had the pricing tucked away in there, and it
They,
took me about,
yeah, they do.
yeah, I think that's on purpose.
Of course it is.
They want to get you sold on the experience first, and then slip that price in there.
Uh huh.
Uh, be like, now do you want to go? After
Now do
you've
you
heard
want to?
how amazing it is, or how amazing it's gonna be.
Uh huh.
Um, so yeah, what I actually uh, I heard about the price point from another podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and and I heard that price point before I really heard any details about it. So they gave me the broccoli first, even though I kind of enjoy broccoli. They gave me my veggies first, and then my dessert after. Uh, but honestly, after reading a little bit more about it, like if I had $6,000 to throw away, I'd be all about it, dude. It sounds
on
like a
two nights on two
on
nights.
2 nights. Hey, it does include a ticket to Hollywood Studios and Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, it does.
So
So you
so
you do at least get that.
yeah, so that's something, and that covers all 4 people in your party.
Yes.
But yeah, so Zach, I'll let you talk a little bit about it. I know that you looked into this as well. So
Yeah, I
do you want
did.
to tell us a little bit about the details that you found about Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser
Yeah,
experience?
so if you go on the site, and I didn't take a lot of notes because I'm just going to work on the site because the way that they have it laid out is pretty good. Just going from left to right on the tabs. So the
Mm-hmm.
overview, like under what's included. So the way they put it to you, the consumer, every Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser vacation package includes a 2-night stay in a well appointed cabin or suite, meals excluding alcohol, and the opportunity to live your Star Wars story through exclusive experiences, missions, and activities. And this is what you glean from that is this is supposed to be like a completely immersive experience, and I'll see if I can find it
Right.
as I go. So they actually encourage you to like dress up. Not I don't know that it's full cosplay because they do specify somewhere on this site, and I'm probably not going to find it, that they do have an approved like site or vendor that's Disney owned, Natch, for like things you can
Uh
wear.
huh.
So I'm sure you could get away with like some Jedi robes, but probably not a full stormtrooper armor setup. So
Probably not.
no, I was scrolling down looking at the dining section. Just one of the first few lines. The Star Cruiser's famous crown of Corellia. Corellia, David, is that it? Corellia?
Uh, Corellia. I think
Corellia.
yeah,
Crown of
Corellia. Yeah.
Corellia dining room is a bright and welcoming hall that offers breakfast and lunch daily before transitioning each evening into an exciting supper club with a lavish multi-course menu of both otherworldly and familiar origins. I guess that's chicken tenders, probably for the kids. Each
The
evening,
Galactic Burger.
the Galactic Burger. Each evening offers a unique combination of elements like live musical entertainment, unfolding story, unforgettable cuisine, and other surprises to bring your dinner experience to life. So they have, I guess, the one eating area in this cruiser that they just transition between meals. Cabins and suites, the images that they have are impressive. Like if it's true to life, like this, it's cool. Like if you're a Star Wars fan, this is like the Valhalla, I'm sure, because like the windows even
Yeah.
looking out. So the whole thing is, it's like you're looking out into space. So the whole thing is like you show up to like
Mm-hmm.
Disney World and you go up into space and you're just out there, right? So
Right.
they continue on. Your Star Wars story begins aboard the Halcyon Star Cruiser. Forgive
Mm-hmm.
me if I'm not saying that right.
Halcyon. That's
Yeah,
correct.
they have like an image of the ship, like what it's supposed to be. Like this is part of the whole fantasy and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Everything is artist renderings right
oh
now. They
yeah,
don't have anything. So yeah, if you haven't been to the website yet, I mean, all you're missing out on is artist renderings. There's no official photos
but even
yet.
then, these are like inspiring. Of like if it's anything even closer, it's like 5% of it. It's like it's amazing. Like if you're a Star Wars fan, this is your
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm gonna view a sample itinerary, and this is like where it gets like okay, this is definitely modeled after like a cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a, like we said, it's a 2-night 3-day excursion. So day one, and forgive me, I have to read this because, and I'll explain why after. Day one, arrival at terminal 1 p.m. Launch pod to Star Cruiser 1:15 to 1:30 p.m. Ship orientation 1:45 to 2:15 p.m. Light refreshments 3 to 3:30. Okay. Sabak lessons, fun. 3:30 to 4. Muster drill, like on a cruise ship, 4 to 4:30. Captain's reception, Natch, 4:30 to 5. Dinner featuring live music, okay, 5:30 to 7. Outer Rim Regalia, 7:15 to 7:30. And then Unexpected Story Moment, even though it's scheduled at 7:30 to 8 o'clock. For example, you might prove your mettle to join an elite smuggling ring or hide a stowaway to help the resistance. And this is something they work into the itinerary you're going to see, where your decisions kind of guide the story that you're going to take through this
Mm-hmm.
2 night thing. Bridge training,
Yeah.
8 to 8:45, and special atrium entertainment, 8:30 to 8:45. So you can already see like everything's very regimented that you're going to do. Day
Right.
2, breakfast, 7 to 8 a.m. Airport shuttle to Batu, like you're going to go do the Rise of the Resistance and all that stuff in Hollywood Studios. Transportation to Batu, 8:15 to 8:25. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, 8:45 to 9:30. Story moment, for example. So this is like another, you get to make a decision. Broker a deal for a heist or arrange to steal a ship from the First Order. 9:30 to
Nice.
9:50. It's a quick mission, 20 minutes. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, 10 to 10:30. Lunch at Docking Bay 7, food and cargo, 11:15 to 11:45. Transport shuttle to the Star Cruiser, so back up 12:40 to 12:50. Lightsaber training, okay, 1 to 1:30. Droid racing competition, 2:30 to 2:50. Build model ship, all right, 3 to 3:30. Sabak tournament, 4 to 5. So you got your lessons on day 1. Now you're at each other's throats day 2. Cocktails and
Nice.
sublight lounge, 5 to 5:30. Taste around the galaxy dinner, 5:30 to 7. Another story moment, for example, put the heist plan into action or bring the stolen ship aboard and watch out for the First Order. That's 7:30 to 8:45. And a what they call a spectacular finale, 10 to 11. Day 3, breakfast, 8:30 to 9:30, and launch pod to terminal, 9:30 to 10. So that's the end of it. This is very regimented, as you can
Mm-hmm.
see. I don't see this being a vacation activity unless you're a mega fan. What if I don't want breakfast at 7 to 8? What if I want to leave and go to Epcot or something like that? So, and this is a sample. Who knows when it actually comes to like life, what it's actually going to be? And I don't
Mm-hmm.
know like how much flexibility is going to be built into this, but
Probably none.
I don't know. The way that
Yeah, this
they present this is just, it's a little intense. So I mean, you better be a fan. And I don't know about bringing kids, like young kids that aren't fans. Like I think this is for like millennials who are just gonna do it with their partner or like as a group or something like that. And we'll get into pricing in a minute. But I can't see somebody like trying to get kids to do stuff like this, especially like, sub 5 years old. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, this I'm sure as time goes on they will release more and more details about uh, aging and stuff like that, like who it's going to be appropriate for age wise. But yeah,
Mhm.
like I can see, like you're saying, this isn't going to be appropriate for, you know, some new parents that have like a 3-year old and a newborn.
Yeah, that you're,
Like
you're going to bring them
this
along
isn't gonna.
just so you can experience this. I don't think that's going to work out well for you.
Yeah, it's not gonna fly. I see this being appropriate for kind of like you said, like a millennial couple, or just your run of the mill hardcore Star Wars fans, or parents that have kids that are around like 8 and 10,
Yeah, I could
or
see that.
like above, I would say above like 6 or 7 years old. Like when you can sit them, when they can sit through the original Star Wars trilogy without getting up, except if they need a pee break. If they can sit through the original Star Wars trilogy, I can see how this would be appropriate for them. If they're not at that point yet, if they can't sit through the original trilogy without falling asleep, it's it's not the time to do this. So
I really think that they're banking it, and we can touch on this later too. That the new generation of Star Wars fans, like all the new content that's coming out, is going to drive some of this visitation because when we get into the pricing, this is niche. It's very one time experience unless they like change it up. But we'll talk about that in a second, right? So,
yeah.
what they present to you under like the start planning tab of all this stuff, it gives you like what's included: 2 night stay in a cabin or suite, food and beverage ongoing, blah blah blah. You get to go do Rise of the Resistance, Docking Bay 7, and all that stuff. But it says planning your voyage, like how many people, blah blah blah, and it goes down and gives you a rundown of like what their standard cabin is. Sleeps 4 to 5 passengers. The Galaxy class suite, same 4 passengers, but it's a suite, so you get more stuff. They say hair dryer. That's fun. Grand Captain's Suite, 8 passengers. Room configuration on that one: 2 queen beds, 2 berths, bunk beds for 1 adult each, and 2 wall pull down beds for 1 adult each. So eight passengers in that one. Sample standard cabin rates, and here's where we get into the price and clench your butt cheeks. So two guests per cabin, and I'm going to use round numbers because they like to put it just under or over the amount to, I guess, soften the blow. So 2 guests per cabin, $1,200 per night, or 4,800 voyage total. 3 guests per cabin, 2 adults, 1 child, $890 a night for 5,300 voyage total. And keep in mind, this is a 2 night experience. 4 guests, the
Mhm.
average for, if you have 2 kids, this says 3 adults and 1 child. I don't know why it can't be 2 adults and 2 children. 750 per night, or 6 grand. 6 grand
Yeah.
voyage total. It has a little note: voyage departure dates most weeknights. I don't know why they put that there. So for six
Take out
grand,
another mortgage on your house and you can go do it.
yeah. I mean, if you want to take out a loan, I mean, so for the diehard fans, and I've been seeing like, I'm going to come back because I'm looking at the site. I want to look at your pretty mug. So coming back, people who are back and forth on this stuff online, like the diehard Star Wars fans, some of them say, yeah, absolutely, I would pay that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody was speculating like $1,000 per person per night. I don't know that it's sustainable unless they like change something. How many times are you going to do this? Is what I'm wondering. Like, even if you are like a real Star Wars fan, like how many times are you actually going to pay that money? Like, how many times, if you had it, like if you could do it, how many times would you pay that money?
Yeah, I don't know. I think one of the reasons why it's priced so high is because it's probably a one and done experience, or at least do it once and then you're probably not going to go back for like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then by then things will have changed. They'll have new missions.
They better.
Maybe things will vary where like maybe you can I don't know, there'll be more variation. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty steep considering what you can. I mean, you've been to the parks more frequently and more often than I have, so you can attest to the comparison and pricing. But you can probably schedule or plan a trip to Disney to go to all 4 parks, stay at a Disney resort, one of the cheaper ones. So you'll be on property for like 4 or 5 nights, and book airfare for 6 grand for like a family of 4. You think that's pretty safe to say? Like you could do all of that for 6 grand?
Uh, yeah, I would say you could probably do that without knowing what the price per day is at the moment because it's probably changed since the last time I've been. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
flights are relatively cheap these days if you're willing to fly on a low cost carrier, something like
Yeah,
that. But yeah, I would say that's fair. All in.
yeah. Uh, I we were talking about this last night briefly on our little bonus episode. you know, I feel like if I had the money, like I would want to do it.
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to do it until my kids were older, though.
Hmm.
Like, you know, they're almost 7 and 5, so they couldn't appreciate it. They don't know what the fuck Star Wars is right now. Um, uh, my son Charlie, my oldest, he has several Star Wars shirts. He doesn't know what it means. He knows what Paw Patrol is, and he knows what like Mario is, and other stuff. I think he'd have a blast at like Magic Kingdom,
Uh-huh.
and he'd have a blast at some at Universal. Uh, but yeah, Star Wars stuff he's not really tuned into now.
Hmm.
But anyways, like I was saying, if I had the money, like I think it would be a fun experience, and I'd do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's asking a lot. Um, so
I would have to have a reason. I don't see myself spending that money to do that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm just, I appreciate Star Wars. I love watching the movies. I love everything about it. I'm not that fan. I'm not the target for this. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's
Hmm.
cool, but I want to do Rise of the Resistance. I haven't gotten to do that yet. Obviously, I want to do that attraction, but I just can't see myself committing to that, one, strict of a schedule with a small child, and two, just that price tag. I can't do it.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot. Well, that is not the only thing that we have to talk about that is Disney/Star Wars related. You also had a couple other things that you approached me with when I was like, "Hey, let's talk about this Disney World stuff." You were like, "Okay, well, there's been some changes to like the Fast Pass system, and there's like some genie thing." And I was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
Yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit about that? Learn my ass.
I don't want to, but we have to. Like, no, this stuff is like
T-
it's confusing. It's got people in it. It's got the internet in a tizzy over what
okay.
they've done at Disney, and it's, I don't know. You tell me how you feel about it. So, previously you had, like, when you were there like a while ago, the fast passes, like the paper fast passes, and then it went to
Yes,
like online.
previously on Lost.
Yeah, when it went to like the online mobile stuff, and
Hmm.
I didn't get a lot of experience with that because we just started doing Disney since our daughter's been born. That's going to be like the thing with the family. So, but
Yeah.
since even we've been there, Genie, Disney Genie and Genie Plus is something that they're incorporating into the My Disney Experience app. So, Disney Genie is supposed to be like this. Supposed to relieve some of the stress of like planning your time, so it can like tell you what kind of wait times there are and have recommendations for what you should and go do, or if you like want to make dinner reservations or wait times at restaurants and things like that. I think that's like the intent of it. That's like
Hmm.
a free thing they're just incorporating, so you just get that, right? And I think it's supposed to like help people, so you don't have to plan as much because or maybe you don't. Whenever you come to Disney, you better plan, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time, right? That
Right.
pretty much anybody knows that's done it at least once. You can't just wing it and expect things to go well. So I think that's supposed to relieve some of that stress. There is a paid option on Genie Plus. Let me see what I have here. So $15 per person per day. So tack that on to a family of four and think about that. $20 at Disneyland California, which is what they had for their whatever their previous version of it was. I can't remember what it was called. So same price basically, I think. But $15 per person per day um, gets you one selection at a time for one of the what they're calling the 40 plus attractions. So there's 40 plus attractions that you're going to get one selection at a time to go into what's called the lightning lane, formerly the fast pass lane. Okay. So
Okay.
it's a paid fast pass basically, and they beta tested this in France, Disneyland Paris, before they started doing it here, and everybody kind of saw it coming, right? So $15 per day per person gets you onto an attraction. Now there's still the standby lines. You can still do that. Okay. If you
Okay.
want to. The ratio I have heard when they were doing like the original fast passes was
So I'm trying to get the light meter on my camera to focus. So
oh, I
it
see it.
actually, yeah, it's. I need to fuck around with the settings on my camera because it just got really dark.
Oh, it's
For the
okay.
people that may be watching this episode instead of listening.
So
Anyways,
I don't
continue.
I don't know how it's going to pan out. So the original ratio I had heard from some other I can't remember where I heard it, but the fast pass lane to the standby lane was like
Hmm.
80 to 20. So the standby lane was going to be like 80% slower than the fast pass lane was. So I don't know like how they're going to ratio it out or how you even do that. I don't know if you limit how many people can buy into Genie Plus to do this stuff. Does that make sense? So I,
Right.
and I don't know if like Disney Genie is just going to send the people all in one direction. So like everybody sees that the wait times are down at X, so everybody moves across the park to this one, and they all see the same thing on their app, so they all move here and there. So I don't know how this is going to affect the crowds. I guess we'll
Yeah.
see how it plays out, right?
Hmm.
Um, if you purchase Disney Genie when you book your trip, so like if you're coming from Tennessee, you have to pay for like all 4 days if you're coming for 4 days. Does that make sense? So you can't just like pay for like one day and then the next day and then the other 2 days you don't have it. However, if you do come down, you can just pay for it for that day. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't think I follow that
Yeah,
at
I
all.
didn't really follow it either. And this was my take on it. And I looked at a few different things. So you can come down on your trip and just get it while you're here and just have Genie Plus for that day.
Okay,
But
but if
if
you
you pre-order
pre-order,
it, you're ordering for all the days you're down here. Does that make sense?
yeah, so if you pre-order, it's all or nothing.
Okay, yeah. So if that wasn't confusing enough, there is a paid attractions. So this is basically a pay to ride feature. Two per day. The price is going to vary based on a lot of factors, probably time of year, probably day of the week, probably time of day, I'm guessing. So this is like Rise of
Hmm.
the Resistance, Ratatouille that's opening up in Epcot, Seven Doors Mine Train. You're like your high popularity rides, right? So this is going to be like you
Yeah.
pay for a slot to go into the Lightning Lane, and people aren't sure how they feel about that. Um, just because it's another like added expense, right? So
Yeah. So
I don't know.
these paid for rides that are like extra expenses, are these new rides?
Like Rise of the
Uh,
Resistance, fairly new, which utilizes a virtual queue, which they will still continue to do. Like you can still try for the virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance and probably Ratatouille, which is what they're probably going to do for that too. If that fails, which it likely will because it's highly competitive and there's like tricks that people are using to like get the get a boarding slot or a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance. If that
mhm.
fails, you can still pay. I think in Disneyland Paris it was like $8 to $15 American per person. So how bad do you want to go on that ride?
Okay.
I guess is what it's going to come down to. Um,
Right.
if you were a local or nearby, and this wasn't like your one vacation to Disney that you're going to do ever, $15 per person, and you didn't have kids that were like an extra expense, maybe you pay it. Maybe it's not that big a deal. But for like a family of four that is coming from Tennessee who not only had to pay airfare and lodging and $15 per person for for the Genie Plus, and now they're having to pay to get on Rise of the
Right.
like you see how it adds up. Like
Yeah.
it's I think it was inevitable. It's not great. There are some benefits, like the only benefit to staying on site is like if you're staying on property or at a select good neighbor hotel, you can make your first individual selection starting at 7 a.m. from your hotel. So you don't need to like be at rope drop to do it. Like you don't need to be
Okay.
like waiting for it to open. So that's like kind of one benefit. And so far that's like the only benefit that anybody's like really seen to staying on property.
Hmm. Okay.
Um Let me see what my note says here. No discounts for Genie Plus or individual attraction selection, the paid ride, yet for annual pass or magic key holders. However, Disney apparently said they're working on enhancements for those folks. I don't know what that means. I talked about the ratio, the 20 to 80. We're going to see how that plays out. I don't really know. There's a lot of unknowns. For those who utilize this, the Disability Access Service, Disney
Mm-hmm.
says that DAS is going to be enhanced. Again, they use that word with the implementing of Genie and Genie Plus. Two new features introduced. First, you can virtually register with a cast member over video chat up to 30 days in advance of your visit, and you'll be able to select 2 attractions per day pending availability. And you have to make those selections 2 days or more out, so you can't do it like while you're down here. And you have like a 1 hour return window, so you get a time slot. Also, if you're enrolled in the
Okay.
DAS, the Disability Assistance, you can make selections day of using the My Disney Experience app and get a 1 hour return window, so you can do that while you're here, I guess. So they say. Um,
Do you know if that extends to individuals with autism by chance?
if you
I
qualify
mean,
for whatever falls into the category of disability access service. So I'm sure they probably have
mhm,
some guidelines of what qualifies. I don't.
right.
I haven't called or looked into that at all myself, but I thought the
Yeah.
pending availability portion of that uh, kind of made me think of something else. So if you are paying $6,000 for the Galactic Cruiser experience and Rise of the
hmm
Resistance isn't working in that time slot that you're scheduled to be there, which it has broken down a few times. Talk about some Karens, some Star Wars Karens that are going to be pitching a fit. I would be pitching a fit, $6,000, and
No
I can't get
shit.
on this fucking thing. Yeah, that would be a real kick in the teeth. Um,
Yeah, like it. I mean, I'm not even planning a trip to Disney World anytime soon, and I'm my pits are sweating. Like I am
bro,
stressed. I'm stressed out right now, homie.
yeah, I'm.
Like,
I don't blame you. Like, I had to watch a lot of videos and read some. So basically, it comes down to this: Disney Genie, you get it. It can help you plan shit. Genie Plus, $15 per day per person. You can get a lightning lane spot, I guess, to get like a
mhm,
return winner to go ride a ride one at a time. So once you're in the line and you ride the ride or whatever, however they work the time slots, you can do another one. You can do that all you want, right? Now for
mhm.
the paid attractions, it's going to be your high ticket attractions. No one knows what it's going to cost. It's going to vary by a lot of stuff. So like those are the 3 main factors, right? Just to put it in like plain speak until we see it come like into the workings, probably around October 1st when the 50th anniversary celebration begins. They'll probably roll it out around then to be like, hey, look at this thing, whatever. But
Right.
that's that's probably when we're going to actually start to see the workings of it and see how it actually plays out. Like I said, if you're a family of 4 coming from Tennessee, sorry, and we're going to talk about the new annual pass prices here next. I guess is probably a good time to talk about it, but
Yeah,
it's
go for it.
just getting more and more expensive. They really, if you think Disney's trying to price you out, you're right. They are. They are trying to price you out because the number one complaint is overcrowding, and there's only one way to control that. If you're gonna
It's
reduce
just
the
to
amount
make
of
things more expensive.
if you're gonna reduce the
Yeah.
amount of people, they have to make their money, and they've lost billions over the past couple of years, and they're gonna want their money back.
Yeah.
So I think we're
hmm
all getting a reminder that Disney is a corporation. They don't care about your
If
feelings.
nah, not really.
They don't. They don't. That they're going to get their money, and I do feel people because people are like emotionally wrapped up in Disney, and I get it. I do. So,
Yeah.
looking at the new annual pass program, left to right on your radio dial, Disney Pixie Dust Pass, the Pirate Pass, the Sorcerer Pass, and the Disney Incredipass. And spoiler alert for you, David, you being an out of state resident, the Disney Incredipass
hmm
is the only one that is available to you.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
$1,300.
For one person.
Yeah. Yep. $99 per month with down payment. Yeah, is what it says here. Disney Pixie Dust Pass will start at the lower end. This pass is Florida residents and lets you sparkle with Disney magic. $3.99 plus tax. If you look at the blockout dates on this one, it's pretty much all the weekends or anytime your kids are out of school, which is nice. So probably nobody's going to go for that one.
Okay.
Next up is the Pirate Pass, $6.99, $700 plus tax. Blockout dates are a little more flexible, but again, it's probably not what you would want to buy. The Sorcerer Pass, if you're a Florida resident and if you're a Disney Vacation Club member, this is the one that's available to you. $900. The blockout dates on this one are better. Obviously, you're moving up, and for the Big Daddy, the Incredipass, obviously no blackout dates and $1,300 available to everybody. So, if you were out of state and you wanted an annual pass, the only one that's available to you now for Disney World, $1,300.
Look at everyone. It's all bad.
And you know what the real kick in the teeth is? They're making you pay for the photo pass or whatever they would call that, which is just, it was free. So it's $100 now, I think, is what I saw. So yeah,
I don't even know what the photo pass is.
It was like that. We never did it because, spoiler alert, if you really wanted to, you can hand the cast member your camera and they will take the picture for you. So yeah, you don't have to do like the photo pass and like get them to take it and then you buy the package.
I gotcha. Okay, I remember doing that. Yeah, where they like give you like the debit card looking thing, and then it like loads all the pictures on there for you. And
well, yeah, now it's all on the app, right? It's all on the Magic Band or the app, I think. But yeah,
I gotcha.
You can literally just hand them your phone or your camera, and they'll take it for you. So
yeah.
I think Universal's looking pretty good for a lot of people these days.
We, Lindsay and I, are currently planning our trip. I think we're planning on going next spring. I think I'm gonna look closely at some of the best dates and times to go.
I'll tell you this: stay on property.
Yeah, we don't have any plans on staying anywhere but on the property. Like,
yeah.
Well,
they give you whatever their version of the fast pass is included. That's why, instead of having to pay for it, which they charge a lot. Like for their like fast pass for the day is like they've been charging for it, and it's like staggeringly expensive, like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, I've heard, but no, like with the experience that we had at Disney staying on property, we fucking loved it. We stayed at one of the cheapest hotels that Disney has to offer. It's the Pop Century Resort.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. The food was incredible. The pools were awesome. Like, you know, there was like a giant fucking Rubik's Cube outside of our hotel. Like, I was like, this place is great. I love it.
People forget, even though you're at a value resort, you're still at a Disney resort. You're gonna be okay. It's okay.
So no, we're really excited. I know my wife is going to flip her shit whenever we finally go and get there. Like, because you know we were talking about this yesterday. I can't remember how much on the podcast and how much off, but you know, we're both Harry Potter fans, but she's she trumps me every time in Harry Potter Trivial Pursuit. She just owns my ass. She's like, you don't fucking know nothing. Get out my face with that shit. Like spiking the football right in front of my face. Get that shit out my house.
She's into that.
Yeah. And so she is pumped for this. And once she figured out, learned that we could pay like monthly as we go, kind of like on credit or whatever. She was like, let's go ahead and like check out now. And I was like, oh god. Like we just bought a brand new car, basically had like 1,500 miles on it. I was
Mhm.
like, God, we catch a break for like a month.
It doesn't end, buddy.
Um,
It doesn't end.
no,
You got kids.
it
You're done. You're done.
yeah, it in fact does not end. All right. Well, do you have any other Disney news, or should we segue into our shit that doesn't suck segment?
Yeah, let's do that. I don't think I have anything else.
Cool. Well, since you just did your delivered us the Disney news, I'll go ahead and take the lead on shit that doesn't suck. You're familiar with our segment, that is shit that does not suck,
Nope.
correct?
No idea what you're
Oh,
talking
okay. Yeah, it's quite possible that we weren't really doing it or doing it on a regular basis the last time you were on the podcast. So basically, you just throw out a recommendation for something that you have watched, read, seen, ingested recently with your eyeballs or your ears.
about.
Anything really. Ted and I, we usually do movies. But last week when I had Lindsay on, we both had podcasts to recommend.
Mm-hmm.
So really anything. So while I go, I'll let you think about it for a minute and give you a chance to come up with something. Oh shit, do I have something?
Quick, make something up.
Wait, now that I think about it, let's see. No, okay, so yeah, I do have something. So I don't know what motivated me to watch this. Like, so for the last couple of episodes, my shit that doesn't suck has been American Horror Story. And
Mhm.
I took a break from American Horror Story just because it wasn't getting any better. It wasn't getting Is that your dog?
Did you hear
Or
that?
it sounded like a wild animal.
Scared the shit out of me. Is what it did. It's a Chihuahua. That's my parents' dog.
Oh, okay.
God, that scared me. I was like reaching for a gun. I was like,
Who there? All right. Well, anyways,
carry on.
so yeah, so I decided to take a break from American Horror Story. Like I said, it wasn't getting any better. It wasn't getting worse per se, but I'm just not enjoying it to the level that people promised me. And god damn it, I hold them to their high expectations.
So it came recommended, but it wasn't living up to what you wanted.
I ask a lot of my horror movies, and at the same time, not a whole lot, but I like my horror to be like really mind fucky. Either that or like really stabby. Like
Mhm.
I like Hereditary, and then I like Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
So, and there's anyways, so this is a very long way of talking about my shit that doesn't suck. So I decided to revisit Final Destination, the original, because they are on HBO Max currently. I decided to hop on HBO Max to see what recently got added, and I don't know if they were recently added. I guess they were, but at least the first couple are on there. And so I was like, fuck it. I haven't seen the first one in like God knows how long. I decided to rewatch it. And it kind of holds up. Like, I mean, so obviously I'm recommending it. It was fun. I'll be honest, I was high when I was watching it. And so the wheels were turning.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so this is like a metaphor for like escaping death and like the inevitability of death. And like it just the gears were turning at a rate and in a fashion that they don't normally turn. So it was clicking on different levels that I cannot recall at this moment. But goddamn, like it hit that movie slapped differently that night that I was watching it a couple nights ago. But it's I was talking to Lindsay about this. Like, it felt kind of awkward at first. Like, it definitely does fall victim to that time period. Like, I think it was released in like 2000, 2001.
Mhm.
So that era of horror films where like it was just, if nudity wasn't reigning supreme, it was just really shitty acting and like teenagers making out, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden someone would get hit by a fucking
Yeah.
bus.
Fresh
Uh,
fresh out of the 90s and all those tropes that came with that.
yeah. So it just, parts of it felt kind of stiff, but like the beginning scene where he has the premonition on the plane, of the plane taking off and then blowing up, and that whole scene, like it escalating, like it was still pretty terrifying. um and I'm sure you can probably relate to some extent, being an airline pilot, but but yeah, it was pretty terrifying. And so yeah, that it was fun. I enjoyed the rewatch. It's super silly. The second one is just as ridiculous, if not more so. So yeah, that's my shit that doesn't suck. Zach, did you figure something out that you want to plug?
Yeah, I could put a few more, or a few different things, and I'm trying to think. I think I'll go with a podcast
Okay.
because I'm always looking for new ones of those. Are you familiar with Pete Holmes, comedian?
Yes, I am.
Well, he's got a podcast, and he's had it for a while called "We Made It Weird." Are you familiar with that one?
So I am, like I said, I'm familiar with Pete Holmes. I know he has a podcast. I'm pretty sure I knew that was the name of the podcast. However, I've never listened to it. So,
Well, if you want something that's obviously it's funny because he's a professional comedian who has other,
mm,
most of the time, professional comedians on, it feels like, but he'll also have people like Rob Zombie. I recently listened to an interview. I recently
okay.
listened to an interview with Tim Ferriss, I think, who's another interesting guy. But he's a very spiritual person. He talks about a lot of interesting stuff. They do discuss like religion a lot because he is like a self-identifying Christian, but
Okay.
more of like a spiritual Christian, not a white Jesus Christian. You know what I mean? He's a
White
very
Jesus.
he's he's a very interesting guy, and he talks about spirituality in a way that just kind of really gets you thinking. He's very passionate about it. I've
Hmm.
learned a lot just listening to him, and like, maybe that's why I feel the way I feel, or it kind of gets you thinking like maybe I do need to learn a little more about what I'm feeling and what I'm experiencing, and maybe there is some validity in Christianity that just shouldn't be taken so literally. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I've been taking away from it, because I've been so turned off by being from the Bible Belt, not being there anymore. Like, and I know you don't want to talk about religion
Yep.
and all that stuff, but I'm so turned off by anything that has to do with like religious conservatism. But he puts it in a way
Hmm.
that it's not bastardized. You know what I mean? So he's
That's cool.
a very interesting dude with a very good worldview. I'll put it that way. So
That's
that's
cool.
that's one
Yeah.
thing I would really recommend.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. And what's the name of this podcast again?
We Made It Weird.
We Made It Weird.
And he has a
Okay.
lot of names that you would recognize just through film and comedy. Jason Segel was one I just listened
Oh,
to,
nice.
and like Bert, I think was it Bert Kreischer or Tom Segura he had on? Just names
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And he's been doing it
Okay.
for years. Like you'll be surprised when you're scrolling back, like 2016, 2015. Like he's been doing it for a while. So,
Oh, wow.
and he's really
Okay.
good. He's really good
Cool.
at interviewing people, which is one thing that stands out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I think we were talking yesterday about that. How interviewing people is like a legit skill.
That's a skill.
Like,
That's hard.
and it's definitely an acquired skill. Like, some people are just naturally charismatic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good for them. But like interviewing, I feel like for the most part, for 99% of people, is an acquired skill.
It really
It,
is, like the awkward moments that we have just in this podcast, like the stops and the and like the pauses and stuff like that. He fills it in a way, and it's probably like being a professional comedian and doing like crowd work. It's not
mhm,
there. It's amazing to listen to him like talk to somebody just cold. You can like they
right.
start the audio where they're walking into the room and they actually sit down and get set up, and he's able to just make it flow in a way that's just like, wow, okay, he's good. Like
Yeah.
he's good.
Right. I mean, I'd like to be so bold as to say that I didn't feel like any time in our recording today was awkward.
No,
Like
if I felt it,
it's
it's because I was doing it.
okay. Well, that's fair. And you know, I've been doing this for a long time. You've you had slash have your podcast that you were trying to get up off the ground.
Nah, I let that go.
Um, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's all right. But like, it's another big hurdle is the whole remote thing. Like being able to do it in person
Way better.
is priceless. Like you cannot put a price on being able to have someone come to your studio or your house or whatever and do it in person, because there's just no substitute for that. But thanks to technology, we can do this. I can see your pretty face, and yeah,
My
and
well
I
lit, pretty face, thanks to my wife's ring light.
yeah, yeah, I have one too, and it's well, the camera is being more of a bitch than the ring light, or as Jesse Pinkman would say, bitch,
Bitch.
science, bitch.
I did order a stand. It's supposed to get here on Thursday, so I don't have to like be like leaning in and like I'm sure this looks great when I'm like this close on like a TV or something like that. But hopefully I'll be able to like be more back and relaxed. But I
That's cool.
whenever this gets done and there's actually like a couch back here, I'll have a much better setup and it won't be like so awkwardly
Right on.
close the whole time, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Zach, thank you so much again for coming back on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it, and thanks for dropping some knowledge bombs on us in regards to Disney. And as depressing as it kind of was to hear about all the price hikes, it's still at the end of the day interesting news. If you, as long as you don't think about it too much.
Yeah, and I encourage anybody to go read more into it or seek out people who just cover Disney professionally because they'll have more insight. And this was very just broad strokes as far as like pricing and like what it is, and I'm sure they can give you a little more detail. But that's the gist of it, and that'll give you enough to go on. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of Disney related podcasts, Disney related YouTube channels. I know I've found plenty out there. There's a plethora of information. There's no lack of it. So just go do your homework. But yeah, like I said, Zach, thank you so much for coming on. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. As always, I do very much appreciate it. Like always, you can find us on pretty much every podcast application that is in existence, including Spotify. Yes, we're on Spotify. Yes, we're on YouTube. And we are trying to do more video versions of each episode nowadays. It is slow going, but hopefully in the next couple of months, it'll be at a consistency of like a video. A video for every episode. So yeah, if you like the show, please feel free to give us a rating and review. That's pretty much Stitcher and Apple Podcast. I think those are pretty much the only two places where you can leave a rating and review, unfortunately. But yeah, that definitely helps us out if you do that. Yeah, that's going to be it. As always, be kind, stay geeky, eat lots of cheesecake, and we will talk to you next week. Bye!